there's going to be more desire for pleasures alone, like bed pleasures included. But, the archetype would be find the joy, find the pleasure, find the satisfaction in solitude, in contemplation, in alone, in ashrams, and spiritual questing. Maybe also you could get bounty and prosperity called inheritance.
Lunatic astrology.
Okay, guys, welcome. This is for your Virgo Sun, Moon, and Rising sign forecast for July of 2026. What a month. We have a first in a lifetime rare configuration in the second half of the month that's going to really shift some dynamics in your reality. I see some amazing career changes that feel fated and destined, and work and career are definitely tilting on their axis. You're going to notice that you want to pull inward, take some time off, go inside of yourself, and get a little more chill on. And you might also find that with Mercury, the Lord of your sign, retrograde for the first 23 days of July, you need to take a break on making major life decisions. Underneath all of it, you understand that you have probably got a lot of things to choose on your plate, and that any choices you make now have to go into a more contemplative mode before you finally decide what you want to do. And so we're going to talk about how this month unfolds day by day, week by week, as we go through the month of July together for your sun, your career and purpose, and your deep soul essence, your moon, your thinking, feeling nature, but your home and nest and environment you live in, and of course your rising sign, your simulation avatar character, totally who you show up as in the simulation matrix video game of life. So ascendant is very accurate, and so is the sun. Remember, this is general bell curve astrology. Of course, it's not going to all be true for you. That's not a personal chart reading, taking into consideration active time lords and dignities of your planets natally. However, should you want to learn how to do what I just said and be your own astrologer, please do come to my Sky Reader class. You can time your best life by learning how to read the language of the sky, by learning how to understand your astrological makeup in your chart, and learn how to use two very precise timing tools. I teach this class every year. This is my 7th September teaching. Deep dive early bird code below, and also go check the information about the whole course. It is literally Q&As, 4 guest teachers, Discord and Facebook group places to meet other students, and also connect with like-minded souls and have some fun along the way. This class has been tinkered with for years, so I'm extending it to 7 weeks instead of 8 this year to take that first class together a little more slowly for some of you who don't even know what a planet is yet. So you should basically know the general gist that the planets are in the sky, the sun is at the center of the solar system, and they move around and around and around. I've gotten people enrolling who have no idea, even the basic idea of astrology, jumping in. So get down with where you're at, basically. All right, so let's get started. My name is Lori Lothian. This is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. Welcome here. I put out a lot of content, always all signs, as well as world astrology. If you like this stuff, then please please subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and hype the video if you do, because it helps the channel grow. And it really makes a big difference, guys. You might think, oh, well, I'll like it another day. But if you watch 4 or 5 of my videos in a while, like the last while, and you like what you're watching, then please consider subscribing. Thanks. I appreciate that. All right, so here's the sky on July the 1st. Here is the Virgo sky, ascendant in Virgo, sun and moon. We pretend your sun is in Virgo, first house and moon, and we treat it like the first house placement called derived houses. So the first thing about the month is, of course, the big story. Jupiter crosses a sign boundary June 30th and stays for 1 year in your 12th house. I can just say, with Venus greeting him, there's going to be more desire for pleasures alone, like bed pleasures included. But, the archetype would be find the joy, find the pleasure, find the satisfaction in solitude, in contemplation, in alone, in ashrams, and spiritual questing. Maybe also you could get bounty and prosperity called inheritance in the next year. And this is the beginning of that potential from an elder relative, Saturn in the 8th house of inheritance, Jupiter ruling legacy wealth, 4th house. But also Jupiter here brings gurus, teachers into our life, and often activates a desire to learn. And some of you may go off to learn a skills-based learning in a college setting or community college, or you might even go off to higher education. Quite often, this propels people to go to school or back to school. And you might find a guru, a true guru, a sat guru during this year ahead. But as soon as the sign boundary is crossed, which is really June 30th, you begin to feel the joyful expansion of your inner life. And Jupiter can protect you here from issues to do with health challenges, especially self-undoing and addictions, but just in general, he can find his gaze upon the house of sickness protective of your health. Now, when we also look at the other big story that you can notice is that Mars has crossed a sign boundary as well. Now, Mars is going to be in that 10th house, which is a place where you will work hard and be a go-getter and be driven or passionate about work, or conversely, decide you want to quit your job and leave or get fired if you really hate it. He'll be here in this part of the chart from May the 19th. So he's like sticking in there. Did I say May the 19th? I'm sorry, not May the 19th. Oh, from June the 28th until August the 11th. So big changes in the career space are up for you. And we're going to talk about the first week, which is game-changing, bone-rattling, destined change in your career. And the other notable factor, of course, is with Mercury being the Lord of your sign. Yes, I said earlier, you're going to change your mind on major life decisions. These decisions may most be around work and career matters, friends and social groups, and your changes in your decision-making power in relationship to a sibling one older may all be a part of what you're up to during this 23-day retrograde. So Mercury headed retrograde June 29th and turns around on July 23rd. It's a very long retrograde. So be cautious of making major life decisions while he's retrograde, knowing that you might turn around and change your mind later on. Give it time, right? Give it time. And he's basically in shadow June the 12th to August 6th. So things that started to unroll in your life as far back as June the 12th don't really clear until August the 6th. And he doesn't even leave Cancer until August 9th. So there's a kind of vibe of June 12th to August 6th where everything is kind of in flux for you. And what Mercury would have you decide on most likely is your career path, your job, your reputation, whether you want to get married. This is weddings up here. And it also may have you make major life decisions, which is turning point action decisions. Oh, I shouldn't say turning point action. That's a company. Turning point decisions that require action to do with your health, do with your body, do with your character in the simulation, do with who you want to be. And so there's this kind of vibration there as well. Okay, so let's get talking about the story. And if you're a Virgo Sun in particular, decisions about career, Virgo Moon about your home life, and Virgo Rising about anything in your life, those decisions should be on kind of pause June 12th to August 6th. So there's no, and it's certainly on pause June 29th to July 23rd when Mercury is retrograding through your 11th house. He's in a mute sign. He might prioritize decision-making based on emotion, but that's not what you should be doing. So hold off. Okay, let's break down the month ahead. Month by month, week by week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and all that great jazz. As we start off, Chiron has moved at third week of June, actually, into your 9th house, and we'll be here till September 17th, testing a new story. Chiron, the wounded one in the house of spirituality, higher education, God, temples, long distance travel, passports and visas, court and legal matters, and purpose and meaning of life. And a sibling to older. And Chiron is up in that part of your chart, and he's going to be in a gnarly square to Jupiter on July 1st. So even just before that, the day or two before, you might feel this tension of opportunity and grace and goodness and expansion squares Chiron. Now, Chiron can be a guide, a shaman, a teacher, and a mentor. This is the advisory hand of the king house. So if you have a therapist even or a healer you're working with, and Jupiter is squaring, there is knowledge or truth or wisdom coming at you that is hard to digest. You may be considering it to be challenging to face whatever the information or news is, especially if it involves addictions and self-undoing. Venus, the goddess of pleasure, is ruling that Chiron from a house of self-undoing. You're going to have to face some music around potential bad habits and patterns that undo you, because truth and knowledge and guidance is coming at you. You could even read a life-turning book, for example. So something wants to change around July the 1st. And then we move into July the 2nd and 3rd and 4th and onward. The major story after that is Mars. He's going to open up in a very tight conjunction, building up to Uranus, while squaring the nose of fate. This is a T-square. This is a major life turning point, and it could be in your business partnerships. It could be in your career. It could be connected to the way you deal with your audience or clients. But the North Node in this marriage type business partner house is being squared, and Jupiter's off duty and an aversion is being squared by Mars and Uranus. So maybe earth-shattering or surprising turning points. I can't tell you if the surprise is something you're welcoming or something that you're not welcoming. Squares are dramatic, but it's pretty exact here on July 4th weekend. So July 3rd, 4th, maybe 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Watch out for sudden shifts into the 5th, connected to major life turning point changes and actions and decisions. And it's angular, so it can be so many things. It could be a breakup with a significant partner. It could be a massive unexpected change in your career focus connected to contractual agreements or business partnerships that you've already made. But because it's on the nodal axis, it's out of your control. There's no steering wheel on that roller coaster of life. And so you will have to surrender to this turning point change that's trying to occur here. There could just be a flashpoint in the office with the boss or someone in the workspace, or a public blowout where people see you yelling and screaming. It could be unexpected being fired, let go of, company closing a division. There's changes you can't control here. So you have to roll with the story. Especially with Jupiter opposite Juno, if there's binding agreements in love or business that you've made, they may be unbound very quickly and very suddenly at this time. So keep that in mind, keep your head about you, see what happens. But some of this feels like you didn't sign up for it, but the universe is giving it to you because it's a part of your astrological code, okay? Mars is the ruler of your house of chunky money and shared resources with others, including severance packages and sign-on bonuses. Mars is the ruler of your 3rd house of the local neighbors and neighborhood. I doubt you're having a flashpoint with a neighbor under the sky, but you might be having a flashpoint with a sibling. That's another translation. Now, as we go forward into past the gnarly sky and we move out of the range of the intensity here for what is breaking through or breaking up, we move on. And we get past that story, and we're still in the first week of July. On July the 5th, Mars will trine Pluto. Mars trining Pluto is considered benevolent, and Mars is also sextiling Neptune. And so there's just something good trying to happen amidst the chaos. You can see it right here. And it can look like what you're trying to do is smooth out rough edges over a calamitous situation to your public reputation, your career path, or your relationship status. And the smoothing of the waters, which are really forming nicely here, may have you considering about, that job change, career path change. Maybe there's an upside. Pluto could be wealth, transformation, and reinvention. And maybe there's also some chunks of money coming at you, and you're not too unhappy with that. If you have debt, you could pay a debt off, but that could come through inheritance. So the other side of this could be inheritance money flash pointing from father figures in your life, eldering father figures in your life, blowing through the sky around that first week of July. On July the 6th, the Sun squares Saturn. So Saturn is some eldering or older likely person in the house of chunky money, or constrictions around shared resources, spousal support, shared resource, unearned income, money, constrictions, constraint, or difficulty. And the Sun puts a light on it. Well, the Sun's in the house of windfalls and pennies from heaven. So it's really the same story. You could possibly come into some chunks of money around this first week of July, but there may be an unexpected quality, and there may be a cost, like, an emotional cost as well, because this is emotional energy with the retrograde of Mercury in a mute sign. You could also have a turning point, difficult time with a friend, and it could involve secrets shared or spilled, or money matters and a friend, and a highlight on that challenge point. And it's really a short-lived flashing energy of solar light. So it doesn't last a long time. Okay. So pay attention to the vibe on July 6th in particular, 5th, 6th, and 7th. When we go on to the second week of the month, we're going to notice that the Sun will square Saturn. Oh, I did that. I'm sorry. July 7th to the 21st or so, 22nd, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff going on. But the first thing I want to bring our attention to, and we have a big moon there as well, is the idea of brain is frying. Oh, yeah, I know what I was going to talk about. Like, seriously, guys. We want to talk about Venus. Venus is always trying her best to bring us love, pleasure, goodness, money, happiness, worldly pleasure. And she's not doing too bad in your 12th house. A lot of like creative projects and time alone might have been right up your alleyway, really benefiting you as she moved through that sign of Leo from about June the 13th to July the 8th. But then she's crossing into your first house. And she's in detriment. And this is happening on July the 9th. Okay. Just trust me on the time zones differences. July the 9th. And when she gets here, and she's going to be here for a bit of time, she's going to be wandering through Virgo, July the 9th to August 7th. Then she's in your sign. Good news, you feel more beautiful. You feel more attractive or charming or persuasive. People like to be around you, but Venus is also in a condition of fall, and she's with the south node of surrender, release, and let go. Don't care what degree your ascendant is, sure. Earlier sun, moon, and rising degrees, the first 5 degrees of Virgo, really feel it, less so the later degrees, but all of you Virgos feel the co-presence of this. What in your life are you needing to let go of? What is it time to surrender and release? Because you're going to feel that question mark, and you'll need to find the answer. And the answer will be hounding you July the 9th to August the 7th. Now, when you ask this question, she will be coming into certain alignments that can give you clues. You might need to let go of something to do with the 9th house story, for example, where Chiron is in a trine. What this Chiron Venus trine is offering you as she ingresses forward is the healing of a life that has no meaning or purpose, or the real positive letting go under the guidance of a counselor, a therapist, a healer, a mentor, a shaman of some part of your life you need to release. Because Mercury rules you and Venus, and she's in the house of friends, are there social groups and friendship circles that when you really think about it, they're not really your cup of tea? And do they disable you in some way in life? Do they debilitate you as well? Because if there are friends that aren't really good for you, or groups of belonging, you might be called to release, let go of those friends. But also because Mercury rules Venus on the south node, and he dominates your 10th house, career job situations that are not right for you also might be needing to be released. And Venus says, yeah, you might be getting the money. And Mercury says you might be getting the visible success, but is it really what you want? And so I think a lot of you are getting ready to release a job, an earning structure, or for some of you, a relationship that is no longer right for you. So pay attention to not just July the 9th, but the vibe through to August 7th as Venus. And well, let me make it more specific. I'm sorry, I should be more specific. Truly pay attention to July 9th to July 27th, where you still have the south node, true node, mean node with you. What are you needing to let go of? Who are you needing to let go of? What must be surrendered? And we're going to go forward. In the second week of the month, as I said, we've got the Venus changing signs and asking you to pay attention to what needs to be surrendered. We're already around July 10th on the chart. But the next thing to notice is definitely that the sun will come into a conjunction to Mercury called a Gazimi. This is a day of news or information on July the 12th. You will also consider it to be a new beginning or fresh start, and you'll see evidence for that in the 6 weeks that unfold from July 12th. A new beginning and fresh start in your long-range plans and goals and dreams for your life. A new beginning and fresh start in your friendship circles and groups and belonging. A new beginning and fresh start in your relationship to a sibling, one older, and on we go. And whatever this new beginning, fresh start is, Mercury will deliver information or news for you around July the 12th, give or take a day or two on either side. And I do think that the new beginning, fresh start energy here is going to be important because Mercury, of course, is your ruler. And so when he conjoins the sun 6 times a year, you're going to be paying attention. This is a retrograde conjunction. He does rule your career house. He does rule your house of your body and your identity. And he does form a broad square to Saturn. So you might be letting go also of things that are deeply karmatic and deeply embedded within multiple lives, or even patterns from your ancestors or childhood, releasing, letting go, and surrendering. But that's your ascendant. But in a reset button. Mercury says, here's some information, here's some news, here's a phone call, here's a text, here's a conversation with somebody in that 11th house. And usually it can be colleagues and coworkers sometimes, but usually it's friends and social groups or the sibling one older. So look for who has something to tell you in person or by email or phone call. Look for the messages around July the 12th. They've got a big potent sign for you to note and pay attention to. On July 14th, there is a new moon in the sign of Cancer. July 14th, Cancer new moon sets a re-beginning, new start, fresh start. Wholesome fresh start, anyone on the 21st degree of Cancer in the house of friendship groups? You see a symbol going on here? I'm seriously thinking some of you need to change who you hang out with. For example, say you are a heavy weed smoker and it's not good for you and your lungs don't feel great, but you only hang out with a bunch of potheads all the time. Or, you're trying to pare back on your drinking and you're hanging out with the booze hounds. Like there's something about the friendship group not fitting you properly. And this new moon, new beginning, fresh start is going to try, with Mercury mashed into it, your Lord, to truly start something new here. New beginnings and career gains, long-range goals, plans, and dreams, friendship groups and circles, and new beginnings in relationship to that sibling, one older than you. The moon in dignity is here, represents that sibling one older, and it could be a positive new beginning in how you relate to that sibling one older. So my Virgo rising daughter, her sibling one older is having a baby. And that's going to really change the dynamic of their relationship. And Mercury makes sure we change it in a good way because Mercury is the Lord of your sign, right? End of story. And I'm babysitting the baby all of the time. All right. So there's a new beginning. Look for the new beginning to be available and witnessed by you. And you can see the proof of concept in the first 30 days after the new moon, but know that it lingers and unfolds till the full moon 6 months later. And then the next story. All right. Venus brings a surprise on July the 13th. We're still in the second week. You don't see it coming. It's a surprise. Venus is squaring Uranus. Unexpected surprises about Venus stories. Well, Venus's conception, when she's in your sign, you're very fertile. Please be careful if you are a female or a male of childbearing age, sperm and ovum. She's a ruler thereof, the conception material. And because she's going to be in this sign, hanging there, doing her shtick, all the way from July 9th to August 7th, you are in a fertility window for conception. Okay. And while you or your partner in the conception window, we have a shock or awe moment. And, Uranus Venus squares are like unexpected pregnancy. So if you hadn't been planning a baby, now you may have a baby to think about. And also Mars is a guy of terminating a pregnancy. So you'll be making decisions whether or not in an unexpected pregnancy you wish to keep it or not. Now, a lot of you are not the right age for this, or you're not in a partnership where you think it's possible, but I would be really, really remiss if I didn't say watch for unexpected pregnancies during this time. Otherwise, the Venus unsurprise square could be unexpected surprising developments connected to your career, human resources, LinkedIn, headhunter energy, and the 9th house is activated. Career guides and counselors lead you in the right direction for career blasts and change. Those things are there. And you might even have an aha and illumination. Like if you were to see a career counselor, guide, or mentor, and then you talked about career stuff, and then Uranus could represent a flash of understanding, a new understanding. You also could have a flash of insight that you need to go to school. You need to learn something new. But so it doesn't have to be all negative, but you're a little either illuminated, aha, or surprised, okay, around this energy field here that Venus is delivering on July 13th, give or take a day or two on either side. Now we're going to the Barbo basket, once in a lifetime, first in a lifetime, rare configuration for the world. This is going to be very active from the 14th to the 22nd. We're in the third week. Take a look at the basket. It's going to catch stuff, right? It's going to catch 2, 3, and 4th house stuff really easily inside of it. That's going to help you get more money, get more traction in social media, marketing, selling, learning, get more traction in your home and life, home-based life and property and real estate. All of this will fall into that basket over time. But in July, notice that this basket is being activated by this story of the miniature trine. We saw that at the end of 25, and it's back at 4 degrees, 4 degrees, and 4 degrees. Houses 6 and 8 and 10. Well, first of all, houses 6 and 10 are Artha houses. This is a career house story. This is career and job and career, work and career, workmates, colleagues, coworkers, employees and career, employment stories. Yeah, work, service. Whew, it's all activated. So means that there's some flowing energy mid-July that begins to pick up steam, could give you your dream chunks of money connected to your work and career, help you eliminate or pay down debts. There may be some turning point in how money comes to you in the career itself. And it also feels like wealth could happen. And Juno says a contract or agreement that's new and destined, maybe in a lot of ways. And then what also occurs under the sky is that you end up with Jupiter becoming a part of it. 4 points active is like a bucket or a basket. And you know now that something good is trying to happen. Health matters can dramatically change through changing harmful self-defeating habits and patterns with Jupiter's wisdom and grace, amazing grace, turning points with health challenges, perhaps, that maybe even life-threatening, Pluto. But at the same time, Jupiter loves to learn, find the guru, find a teacher, activates the educational axis. So this bucket could definitely bring you back to school, more likely skills-based learning, not ivory tower, but more like I'm going to school to learn a tool, a technique, a skill. So retooling your skill sets. And it also could bring you more money, and it certainly can bring you some positive directions in your home life. And it could bring you a new rental property as well, if you were looking for one. And it could bring you a pet in the home if you want one. Jupiter says, yeah, let's be happy with pets in the home. And again, we can see some ability to reduce debt that you owe or debt owed to you returning to you. Jupiter, however, activates your inheritance house as well. And I can't escape that money that comes to you could come into the basket through a pending inheritance. You may know about that, or inheritance from the in-laws. You may know about that. May become very amply evident to you around July the 13th, 14th to the 22nd, where you are aware of that kind of money being available. Okay. I see more father figures in the sky than not. Because what happens next is later, the sun joins the basket as well. The basket with Jupiter's support is most precise, June 20th to 22nd. So that's where the bounty of the bucket is being filled. So keep that in mind. But because some of the bucket anchors your career house as well, and reputation, as well as father figures, there can be some nice turning points, especially July 19th to the 22nd, where you feel really lucky in pivot points in your work and career. I like the energy here of the next story as well. Let's get to that. You're going to find that the hard work pays off archetype becomes available to you around July the 19th, when Mars and Saturn become trine to each other, sextile to each other, I apologize. And this energy means I've been working hard in my career, maybe looking to find a new job, or working hard in the job you have. And the gains that can come from that hard work is money. And so a kind of money might be more like a commission check, a performance review check, just a chunk of money coming at you. Hard work pays off is what I'm going to say. It looks like money. It looks like it pays off with money. And determination, drive, and ambition, and powerful pivots that you've been taking in your career space have a financial upswing for you as a result. And Saturn, while he's fallen, he does exalt your second house of earnings. It's more like a one-time payment of some sort, or a perk of some kind that you're seeing in your sky from all your hard work around July the 13th. Okay. Or did I say 13th? I apologize. You'll start to feel it building on the 13th, but it won't be exact until about the 14th, till the 19th. So the 14th to the 20th, look for this hard work pays off vibration, discipline, and perseverance lead to positive new directions in career and momentum in your money as well. When we go past that story, when we're coming towards July the 20th, Jupiter is now locked and loaded, as I said, on the 20th to the 22nd. And then the sun changes signs here on the 23rd, 22nd, 23rd. Time zone dependent, I suppose. And now the sun wants to play with the basket, right? Now, because the sun is in its home sign, it's strong, and Jupiter is good there. It's even more extension of what the basket wants to receive. Another element of this is as well, the sun exalts you in your 8th house of chunky money, unearned income, shared resources. And there may be a way that is like ka-ching, like a basketball goes into this bucket around the money being delivered to you, or the details being finalized for money, to receive money here, including money from the fourth house, legacy wealth, or sale of property. Okay. And Jupiter would be your destined buyer from a worldly success standpoint of a property you wish to sell. So it looks like that's where the money comes into the bucket, so to speak. All right. The next thing to pay attention to, which I didn't cover for all signs, but I will for you, because I do see Jupiter and money. Well, let's get to it in our own good time, right? On the 26th of the month, I can hardly talk. On the 26th of the month or so of the month of July, we're going to notice that let's build it up. The sun squares Chiron as well, just like Jupiter July 1st, redigging into the wound of education, purpose, and meaning, or a wounded father figure, okay, ill or sick or something. So you felt it July 1st, rippling, then you see it again July 23rd as Sun and Chiron also square around that time. But then also Mercury sextiles Venus for some good news. What is this good news? 5. Good news around your career gains, good news around your friendship circles, good news for your sibling one older, good news around the actualization of a long-range goal and dream, especially connected to career, good news around your health. So that's all happening for you, a little good news spark around July the 24th, give or take a day. And then we're going to talk about how the sun, well, I talked about how the sun angles into the basket and it gets stronger and stronger for the rest of the month. But also on the 26th, Saturn will retrograde. Now, because Saturn is connected to the house of that inheritance money or shared resources with a spouse, there may be a delay or pause around what you know is coming to you, but it may not come to you until he goes direct 4 months later. It's going to be a story that could take until later on for you to receive the goods, so to speak. But all said and done, it's just also easier when Saturn's retrograde. You feel less in a place of hardship. And if you're trying to undo an addiction, then all of a sudden it opens up as more easy for you, or self-undoing or bad habit. You can say, oh my God, that feels so much more easy. This discipline and hard work to foretell or forestall or corral my addiction just got a lot easier. So, July 26th at about 4 months, things begin to feel easy for you in that regard. When we move into the energy of July the 29th, Venus will square Mars for really kind of a sexy, passionate, romantic vibe, full of attraction. But it's really, unless you're falling for a work colleague, coworker, or boss, right, that square that's building here, then you may instead be thinking of it as passion for your work, falling in love with your work, being turned on by your work or career path that you've chosen. That's the vibe. Okay, that's what I'm getting. And Mars is the ruler of the boss of certain parts of your life. And one of the places he's a control freak of is not just your chunky bunny house, but your third house of travel and short distance stuff, or learning. And maybe I say you could even have a passionate directional change in your work connected to travel, change of neighborhood or city, but also maybe even connections to education and work changes as well. Maybe even just professional education. And it should feel a little bit of sizzle here. Okay. Venus is what you desire. Mars is taking action to bring it to you. And it's very fast energy. It's very turning point energy. Very pivotal. If you're not meant to be in a relationship and you've been thinking to get the hell out of Dodge, a committed long-term relationship could actually break under this. Okay. Just have to let you know. And when is that square again? It's around July the 25th, 6th of the month. Moving forward to the next story is Sun Jupiter conjunction, resetting your life. This is a new beginning that lasts an entire year. So from the conjunction, which will happen here on the 29th of July, add a whole year. There's a new beginning, reset in your 12th house. South Node is allowing you to release and surrender, let go. It's a deeply spiritual story. The nodal axis changed on the 27th. This is going to indicate that you are now dealing with deep soul work and you're improving your health and you're making more success happen in your career, while at the same time, your alone time is sacrosanct. Some of you could get some career changes connected to distant shores and far off lands and companies, but also This is soul work, and this is going to put you in a position, if you have struggled with any kind of undoing, self-sabotage, bad habits, addictions, all that stuff, this is the beginning of the recovery for real. And Jupiter blesses it with grace, and you surrender here. And you could find spiritual gurus, ashrams, meditation, and teachers, shamans coming your way over that next year. We'll cover that in a separate video. It's a big deal. It's a once every 12-year synodic reset of your 12th house, okay? And we have a full moon at 6 degrees Aquarius on July the 29th. This full moon at 6 degrees of Aquarius on July the 29th is highly hooked up to the eclipse of February 28th. So new moon eclipse, February 28th in Aquarius, happened in the house of health and work, looking at the house of hospital, self-undoing, and addictions, pets, rental properties, and job and debts. New beginning, eclipse on February 28th. I want you to take a month before, up to 3 months after, what unfolded from February 28th. Because that eclipse also had the node in the 7th house, it could involve major changes in not only your debts and health and work, but also legal contracts, agreements, and marriage partnerships. And energetically, I wonder if some of you, because this is a full light spotlight moon, it's in a health house, and it's anchoring, a sun and Jupiter in the house of self-undoing, you might start to really square away or opposingly look at a light that shines in the house of sickness and says, how are you responsible or not responsible for the challenge you face in your health, or the challenges you could face in your health? And so there is a story here that the 6 months that follow this spotlight at 6 degrees of Aquarius on the 29th could actually, in the long run, solve and relieve you of health challenges. Jupiter is fueling this energy for good outcomes. And Pluto is death, rebirth, and transformation. Saturn is the ruler of the lunation in the house of karmic stories and activating spiritual moksha houses, as well as chunks of money. Debts can be eliminated by father figures in hospitals, in your in-laws, or your own life. You may come into debt relief money as if money owed you is returning or coming to you. With Saturn retrograde, you kind of know it was going to come your way anyway. So now it's finally showing up. You see what I'm saying? All right, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. These videos are deathly long. I think I'm talking kind of slow. Check out my members only community here, extended version content every Monday. Talk about world politics more freely. To come join me on my Patreon community, where you get Zoom meetings, classes, a whole bunch of cool perks, as well as everything early access ad-free. Every single video early access ad-free for a mere $10 a month. And I put out dozens and dozens of videos. You got a ladybug landing on my window. I'm giving you the ladybug luck. You another sign have gotten it so far. So congratulations on the ladybug. Don't forget to come and join me in Skyreader. The deepest discount code that will ever be available, expiring in July, is in the description box below.
Lunatic astrology.